know it's no ideas.
So this is the age-old debate too that everybody's saying. If we already know where you stand, FX, because we had Doo-Wop, we had DJ Doo-Wop on here, and me and him was talking about it, going back and forth too. He was like, "Yo, he feels It Was Written was a better album than Illmatic." My position on it, to be real with you, is that It Was Written showed him in the light of a songwriter. The songs were better written, it was better hooks and things like that. In terms of like raw lyricism, I would say Illmatic. But I seen his evolution. Like, I see why people have that debate and that discussion about, which album will be better. Commercial success, clearly It Was Written. But it's just something about Illmatic that I think that just, like the nostalgia of it is something about Illmatic that is always going to be, for me, like his best work.
I think it's the storyline. It's the document. I'm just going to say it like this: the fact that you had all these incredible, producers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You had Q-Tip with Tribe Called Quest when Tribe Called Quest was hot. You had Pete Rock. Pete Rock was hitting.
Premier.
You had Premier when Premier. I mean, right off the cuff of, main source. So, if you take in that and everybody in there, then you had Premier. So it's like the whole, it's the whole Cinderella storyline behind that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I always go with, at that particular time, seeing all the second albums was better to me
than People First.
Even if you look at, a lot of people don't like whole second album, but if you think about it, if you take away the commercial success records, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goes away, and think about those songs and those particular songs, like Imaginary Players and
Watching was on there.
Just Watching and Me and things like that. That album to me was sonically better than
Reasonable Doubt. I would still go Reasonable Doubt, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why I would go Reasonable. The reason why I would go Reasonable Doubt is because I feel like I was saying earlier, I feel like a lot of the records on his second album was him demonstrating I want to have crossover appeal, right, and going in saying I need a big radio record instead of creating a record organically to make it the radio. Now, in the first album, which became a big radio record organically. I don't know if he set out and made that saying I want to make this and this is going to go to radio. It just
Can't Knock the Hustle with Mary.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if you take away, of course, the record that he had with Babyface and Brooklyn Crew, you know what I'm saying? If you take away those commercial records,
mm-hmm,
right? Take away those commercial records. That album is still, to me, a better record, a better album.
He had City Is Mine. He had I Know What Girls Like on it. I'm like, I'm not gonna front. I like the records, but I'm just from this to, see,
those are the three records. Gets the fast forward. I know what girls like. The Babyface record, Brooklyn Crew. Now you take away those three records, everything else is crazy. You gotta take away.
What you say? You get look at Bpzy reaction. What'd you say, Bpzy?
I'm agreeing with him because it was the fluff records that make you not pay attention to the art records. The art records was like Imaginary Player, Lucky Me, Streets Is Watching, where he was still MCing and he was definitely talking that talk.
Friend or foe.
And talking that money talk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rap Game. He had Rap Game, Crack Game on there.
That was hard.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to, let me ask you a question. If y'all go song for song, right? So, you know, the first album, it was like, what was his radio records on that?
Can't knock the hustle. Yeah.
And something else.
Probably that. Can't knock the hustle. Ain't no I don't know. That's
Were they playing Can I Live?
Nah, they wasn't playing Can I Live like that.
Okay.
They weren't playing Can I Live.
So
those were probably the two.
Yeah.
Now you take away those two, right? So I remember buying that from where I bought that from? I bought that from Hot Wax. I bought that from Hot Wax in Jamaica Avenue. I remember sunning that cassette. I bought it, listened to it. I was like, man, yo, and I sold it. And I copped it years later. You know, I copped that album years later.
I can't front. Effects made me want to listen to that second Jay-Z album when I get off the phone.
It's a good album. I'm not lying. It's a good album.
Jay's spitting on there. There's some joints on there.
We had Mike Geronimo on too, and I was saying to Mike Geronimo, like, yo, for me, Mike Geronimo's first album, The Natural, I liked it. You know, based on the time frame of everything that was going on. You know, you had the Nas, you had the Black Moon, you had the Big Allen. It just OC first album, Word Life. That's one of my favorite albums.
Yeah,
it just
first album.
It
just surviving internationally off that record.
Yeah, but it seemed like everybody stepped up their thing on the second. Like I know for a fact, Mike Geronimo. Mike Geronimo's second album was fire.
But people always put records at point figures at the what we call the fluff records, like the Puff song.
He started messing with Puff, the Hitman, and all that. And when we had him on, I was like, yo, was this a decision by you or was it by the label to actually put these records together? Because he had a formula that worked for him. And I respect that artists should have the right to grow and take risks. I understand that. But it was just like blatant commercial attempts, and I'm like, this ain't you, bro. Like, you know, why are you making this? Like his to me, Mike Geronimo's first album is better than his second album.
I have to disagree.
Okay.
Because Mike Geronimo's second album is the introduction of DMX, the introduction of Jay-Z. You had Flush on it.
Flush was on the first album too.
Yeah, Flush was on it, but the song was better.
What song was Flush on the second album? On the first album, he was on Master IC. That was
Master IC.
Second album wasn't bad, but it was just too many.
That second album.
What was the name of that second album? I don't remember.
Vendetta. Remember he sampled the joint Single Life? He had Jay-Z on it. I'm living
a single.
I like that record.
Carl Thomas and Jay-Z on it. It's like it was taking them. It was taking them to now. You're gonna hear Flush in the clubs. You're gonna hear them in what was the club at the time? The Kit Kat Club. Now you're gonna hear them in rotation. You know, you're gonna get your 1-2 on.
Did you like Nothing But what was it? Nothing Move But the Money?
The Prestige joint.
Yeah,
I like that.
Wasn't for me.
With the transformation sample, I love the sample.
It wasn't. I mean, I just, you know what it is. I'm coming off.
For me, it didn't work for Mike though. I like the record more than I like Mike on the record.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that, you know, artists want to grow. I think labels get behind them and they see like, all right, you know what, you have moderate success with your first project. What do we need to do to put you over the edge? Because clearly they put more marketing dollars into it. The budget was bigger. He had the Hitman behind him.
So let me ask you a question. So did y'all want it records where, you know, you just heard it and just the bop was just this?
Nah, I'm not stuck in boom bap. I said.
No, I'm not saying in boom bap. I'm just saying where it's just like, you know, sometimes we get caught up in the lyrics is superb, but the music doesn't do nothing for you. You know, like
I look at Nas's career is defined by that.
Yeah, I look at some music, and me as a DJ, where will you play that?
That's a fact. Yeah.
The only record you gonna play on Mike Geronimo's first album is
It's Real.
It's Real.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had the remix to the Lost Boy record.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Nah, I don't know. I just think that sometimes like people, you know, it's like
I had to respect, because at the time in the Palladium they was playing Master IC. So the sound was different, but to me it sounded like it sound too Brooklyn-y for me. It sound like it could have been a Duck Down record.
Okay.
Musically, Master IC does feel like a boot camp record.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
like,
definitely does.
I could have easily heard Buckshot on that track. You're right.
And the second album sounded more like a Queens record, a Queens album.
The second album to me gave me like Bad Boy vibes.
Well, because you had no disrespect, you had Nasheem
Merritt.
Yeah, that's Queen.
Yeah. From first to second album, a person whose second album I think was better than their first album, y'all may disagree with me on this, is I thought Cam's second album. I like Cam's second album better than I like this first album. But I think his first
Confessions of Fire, that was first?
The first album. Confessions of Fire was the first album. Second album was Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment.
SDE. Okay.
Yeah. And the first album, I think that from him being, initially linked with Mace and seeing Mace's success, I think he set out to make a whole bunch of commercial attempt records. And, like he had good records on there, but it just was, I'm like, nah, like I heard 357 joint. I'm like, yo, this dude really could spit. And then I heard Horse and Carriage, similar to what you saying, FX. Like, it don't always have to be the same bop. It was like, your Horse and Carriage is crazy. And I'm expecting more along the lines of that. And then I start hearing like some of these other records. Not that they were horrible records, but like he had the joint with Usher with the was it the Teddy Pendergrass sample, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He had Jermaine Dupri rocking and rolling. Like he had a lot of records like that. And I'm like, why,
See, you got to remember, we came from a town where prior to that, everybody's first album, it is what it was. But then I had to say somewhere between like between like 93, 94. Because I'll give you another example. Tribe Called Quest's second album was better than the first one.
Agreed. That we agree on something. I agree with that.
That